Hey coin collectors and enthusiasts, welcome back to Worth Coin channel where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today we're taking a close look at some ultra rare UK 2 new pence coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II. From historical details to their incredible value, these coins are highly sought after. Let's get right into it. 1999 UK 2 new pence. The first thing to know is that the 1999 2 new pence coin is part of the UK decimal coinage system, which replaced the old currency system in 1971. It was minted under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and bears her image on the obverse side. This coin, along with its predecessors, is often referred to as the new pence due to the change from the pre-decimal system, where the old penny had a much higher value relative to the pound. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse of the 1999 coin, you'll see a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, which was introduced in 1998. The inscription reads Elizabeth II DG. Reg FD, this stands for Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a proud reminder of the UK's royal heritage. On the reverse, we have the classic Tudor rose design, symbolizing the history and unity of the English monarchy. Above it, you'll see the words new pence, and below the denomination, the number 2. This reverse design was created by Christopher Ironside and has become iconic in British coinage. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Despite being minted in 1999, the coin still bears the inscription new pence. Why? Well, in 1982, the inscription was officially changed to 2 pence on the coinage, yet some 2p coins produced for special sets and collections continue to use the original new pence design as a nod to the original decimal coins. This can make certain new pence coins more collectible, as they were not circulated in large numbers after 1981. The 1999 2 new pence coin wasn't meant for general circulation. It was minted as part of proof sets that were produced by the Royal Mint. This means that while you won't likely find one in your spare change, collectors who own these proof sets may have this unique 1999 new pence coin in pristine condition. Proof coins are struck using a special process which gives them a high level of detail and a mirror-like finish, adding to their value for collectors. Now, what's the value of this coin today? Well, since it's a proof coin and not meant for circulation, its value can vary based on its condition and demand. A 1999 2 new pence coin in mint condition can fetch around PS10 to PS20 depending on the market, while complete proof sets from that year can be worth much more. 1975 UK 2 new pence. The 2 new pence coin was first introduced in 1971 as part of the United Kingdom's decimalization process. This change shifted British currency from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the decimal system we know today. In the early 1970s, new coins were minted with the words new pence instead of just pence to distinguish the new decimal coins from the pre-decimal ones. The coin we're focusing on today, minted in 1975, is one of those early new pence coins. Now, what makes this coin even more interesting is the design. Let's break it down. On the obverse, we have the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This version of the Queen's portrait was first used on British coins in 1968, and it shows her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. One fun fact, this tiara was actually a wedding gift to Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth's grandmother. But back to the coin. On the reverse side, you'll find the badge of the Prince of Wales. This design includes a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with the motto HDN, which means I serve below the badge. The inscription reads new pence and the denomination 2. It's a classic and elegant design. So you're probably wondering, is my 1975 2 new pence coin valuable? Let's talk about that. First, it's important to note that the 1975 2 new pence coin isn't rare. In fact, millions of these coins were minted. Because of this, the coin's value is typically close to its face value, which is around 2 pence even today. But wait, there are a few factors that can affect the value of your coin. For instance, the coin's condition is crucial. A coin in uncirculated condition, one that has never been used and looks brand new, can be worth a bit more. You might see prices ranging from 50 pence to PS2 for uncirculated coins, depending on the demand from collectors. Another factor to consider is if the coin has any errors or variations. Although there are no well-known errors for the 1975 2 new pence coin, error coins can sometimes fetch higher prices if they exist. Always check your coin carefully. Here's where things get really interesting. Did you know there's a bit of controversy surrounding new pence coins? From 1971 until 1981, all 2 pence coins featured the words new pence, but in 1982, the Royal Mint changed the inscription to just 2 pence. This was to reflect the fact that the decimal system was now established and no longer new. So while the 1975 coin isn't particularly rare, coins from 1983 with the new pence inscription are highly valuable because they were mistakenly struck with the old inscription. Unfortunately, the 1975 version doesn't fall into this rare category. So should you keep your 1975 2 new pence coin? Well, if you're a collector, absolutely. It's a great piece of British numismatic history, even if it's not rare. And who knows, in the future its value could increase. 2006 UK 2 new pence. The 2 pence coin, also known as the new pence, has been a significant part of UK currency since decimalization in 1971, But the 2006 version is especially interesting for collectors. On the obverse, we see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This design has been used on British coins since 1998. If you look closely, you can see the inscription Elizabeth II DG. Reg FD, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. On the reverse, you'll notice the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales, featuring 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet. Below, the words New Pence are clearly displayed. This design was created by Christopher Ironside and has been a staple on the 2p coin. Now, let's take a quick trip back in time. The UK transitioned to a decimal currency system on February 15, 1971. Commonly referred to as Decimal Day before this, Britain used pounds, shillings, and pence, an old system that dates back centuries. After decimalization, new coins were minted, including the 2 new pence. Up until 1982, the coin's reverse side read new pence. After that, it was changed to 2 pence. However, some coins, including a few minted in error, continued to display the new pence legend. Now let's talk specifics about the 2006 2 new pence coin. Here are the key details. Composition: the coin is made from copper-plated steel weighing 7.12 grams, diameter 25.9 mm. Edge plain. Mintage: millions of these coins were minted, making them fairly common in circulation. Despite its common mintage, the coin remains a favorite among collectors for its historical relevance and its place in the Elizabeth II coin series. So how much is the 2006 2 new pence coin worth? Well, its value largely depends on its condition. Let's break it down. Circulated condition: if your coin has been used and shows signs of wear, it's worth face value, which is 2 pence. The uncirculated or mint condition and top condition, this coin could fetch between PS 0.50 to PS 1.50. Though it's not particularly rare, collectors value uncirculated examples. Error coins: always keep an eye out for error coins like misstrikes or coins with minting defects. These can be worth significantly more, sometimes ranging between PS 10 to PS 50, depending on the error. Before we wrap up, here are some interesting facts about the 2006 2 new pence coin. The 2p coin is legal tender up to the sum of 20 pence, meaning you can only use up to 10 coins in a single transaction. In 1992, the coin's composition changed from bronze to copper-plated steel to reduce production costs. The 2006 version reflects this material change. Many collectors seek out 2 pence coins that still bear the new pence inscription, which was phased out in 1982. 1989 UK 2 new pence. The 2 new pence coin was first introduced in 1971 as part of the decimalization of British currency, replacing the old penny system. In the early years, coins were marked new pence to distinguish them from their pre-decimal counterparts. But here's where it gets interesting. From 1971 to 1981, the coins bore the new pence inscription. However, from 1982 onwards, the denomination changed to 2 pence. So why do we still see new pence on a 1989 coin? Well, this is part of a special coin set which retained the older inscription style. Now let's dive into the design of the 1989 2 new pence coin. The obverse side of the coin features the fifth definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Makhlouf. In this portrait, the Queen is wearing the George IV state diadem, and her regal profile faces right, surrounded by the inscription Elizabeth II DG. Reg FD 1989, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. On the reverse side, we see the famous badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with the motto HDN, which means I serve, at the bottom. This design, created by Christopher Ironside, was used consistently on the 2 pence coin until the major redesign in 2008. Let's talk about how many of these coins were made. The 1989 2 new pence coin wasn't issued for general circulation. It was only produced for commemorative coin sets, making it relatively rarer than coins minted for everyday use. This limited production run adds an element of exclusivity to the coin. Because of its non-circulating status, many of these coins are found in mint condition, which can influence their value. Now, onto the part many of you have been waiting for: the value of the 1989 2 new pence coin. Since this coin was only made for commemorative sets, it's often found in excellent or uncirculated condition. Depending on the quality of the coin and whether it's part of a full set, its value can range from PS2 to PS5 GBP individually. However, if it's part of an untouched proof set, the entire set can be worth PS10 to PS20 GBP or more, depending on market demand. Keep in mind that coin values can fluctuate based on rarity, condition, and collector interest. So if you're holding on to one of these, it might be worth checking its current market value before selling. Before we wrap up, here are some fun facts. Although the new pence inscription was officially replaced in 1982, the use of new pence on commemorative coins like this one continued to pay homage to the original decimalization. And if you're a collector, remember that the best way to preserve your coin's value is to keep it in its original packaging or in a protective holder to avoid wear and tear. Coins that are kept in pristine, uncirculated condition will always fetch a higher price. 1978 UK 2 new pence. The 2 new pence coin was first introduced in 1971 as part of Britain's decimalization, replacing the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence. In 1978, the 2 new pence coin was still relatively new in circulation. It was part of a series that marked a major change in British currency. But what makes the 1978 coin unique? Well, this was one of the coins minted before the denomination switched to simply 2 pence in 1982. The phrase new pence on the reverse was only used from 1971 to 1981, so coins like the 1978 2 new pence hold a special place in British numismatic history. Now, let's take a closer look at the design. The obverse of the 1978 2 new pence coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on all UK coins from 1968 to 1984 and shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. It's one of the most iconic representations of Queen Elizabeth during the mid-20th century. On the reverse, we have the crown fleur-de-lis design, which symbolizes the Prince of Wales. Above the fleur-de-lis, you'll notice the inscription new pence and below it the denomination 2. This elegant design was created by Christopher Ironside, who designed many of the UK's decimal coins. So how rare is the 1978 2 new pence coin? Well, in terms of mintage, over 442 million of these coins were struck in 1978, which means it's not particularly rare in terms of circulation. However, finding one in uncirculated or mint condition can still add value to your collection. The coin is made from bronze and weighs 7.12 grams with a diameter of 25.91 millimeters. While these were mass-produced, those that have been well-preserved are what collectors are really after. Let's get to the part everyone's been waiting for. How much is the 1978 2 new pence coin worth today? For a coin in average circulated condition, the value typically ranges between PS 0.20 and PS 1. However, if you have a coin in uncirculated or brilliant uncirculated condition, it can be worth a bit more, usually ranging from PS2 to PS4, depending on the market. Now, if you happen to have a proof version of the coin, which was only available in special sets, its value can be significantly higher, often fetching PS10 to PS20 or more. So always check your coins carefully. Here's a fun fact for you. The new pence inscription was dropped in 1982 after people got used to the new decimal currency. From that point forward, coins simply said 2 pence, but the early versions like the 1978 coin are a great reminder of Britain's currency transition in the 70s. 1994 UK 2 new pence. The 2 pence coin was made to replace the old pre-decimal coins, and since its introduction, it has remained a key part of UK currency. The 1994 version is part of this long history, but it has its own unique details. Let's take a closer look at the 1994 UK 2 pence coin. On the obverse, we have the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklouf. This design was used on British coins between 1985 and 1997. In this portrait, the Queen is wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. On the reverse of the coin, you'll see the familiar badge of the Prince of Wales, which includes a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon bearing the German motto Ich Dien. Meaning I serve. This reverse design has been a constant on the 2 pence coin since its introduction in 1971. The 1994 coin is made of copper-plated steel, as the composition changed in 1992 due to the rising cost of copper. Before that, 2 pence coins were made of bronze. So how common is the 1994 2 pence coin? The Royal Mint produced a large number of these coins, hundreds of millions in fact. As a result, the 1994 version is not considered rare, and you'll likely still find them in circulation today. While it's not rare, its mintage numbers still make it a collectible coin for anyone building a full collection of decimal coins from the Elizabeth II era. Now let's talk about the value of the 1994 UK 2 pence coin. As with most coins, its value largely depends on its condition. In circulated condition, this coin is usually worth its face value, just 2 pence. However, if you have an uncirculated or proof version of the coin, it could be worth a little more. An uncirculated 1994 2 pence can sell for around 50 pence to PS1, depending on the market and the buyer's interest. Being a proof version, which would have been part of a special collector's set, could fetch around PS2 to PS3. It's also worth noting that errors or misprints on coins can increase their value significantly. So always keep an eye out for any unusual features on your coins. Though there aren't any widely known errors associated with the 1994 2 pence, to sum up, the 1994 UK 2 pence coin may not be particularly rare, but it still holds value for collectors looking to complete their set of decimal coins or anyone interested in the different portraits of Queen Elizabeth II used throughout her reign. So while the 1994 2 pence may not make you rich, it's still a nice piece of UK numismatic history, especially if you find one in excellent condition. 1988 UK 2 new pence. Now let's focus on the 1988 2 pence coin specifically. What makes it special? And how much is it worth today? On the obverse, we see a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which is quite typical for most UK coinage. This particular portrait was designed by Raphael Maklouf, who created this third definitive coinage portrait of the Queen. Her image is surrounded by the words Elizabeth II DG, Reg, FD, which stands for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Fencer, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. Flipping to the reverse side, we have the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales. This emblem includes a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon beneath bearing the motto HDN, which means I serve in German. This design has been a constant feature of the 2 pence coin since its inception in 1971. In 1988, the 2 pence coin was struck in bronze, a mixture of copper, tin, and zinc. The weight of the coin is 7.12 grams, with a diameter of 25.9 millimeters. One key fact to remember is that the coin's material remained bronze until 1992, when the Royal Mint switched to a copper-plated steel composition due to rising metal prices. Now for the part you've all been waiting for, how much is the 1988 2 pence coin worth today? Generally speaking, the 1988 2 pence coin is still considered common. Since millions of these coins were minted, they don't hold much numismatic value in circulated condition. Typically, a circulated 1988 2 pence coin is worth its face value, which is PS 0.02. However, if you happen to come across an uncirculated or brilliant uncirculated B version, the value can increase slightly. Collectors may be willing to pay around PS1, PS3 for a coin in pristine condition. Proof sets from that year can also fetch higher prices depending on the condition and demand. Though the 1988 2 pence coin isn't rare, special editions or error coins can be worth much more. Be on the lookout for any striking errors, such as off-center strikes or misalignments, which can make a coin far more valuable to collectors. While no major errors have been widely reported for the 1988 2 pence coin, you never know what might slip through quality control at the Royal Mint. Beyond its monetary value, the 1988 2 pence coin is a symbol of Britain's continued coinage tradition under Queen Elizabeth II. During the late 1980s, the UK saw significant social and political changes, but the coinage system remained stable, and coins like this one continued to serve as part of the everyday economy. So while this coin may not be rare or highly valuable, it holds a piece of history that collectors and everyday citizens alike can appreciate. 1971 UK 2 new pence. Let's go back to 1971, a year that marked a monumental change for British currency. This was the year the UK transitioned from the old pound, shillings, and pence system to a decimalized currency system, where 1 pound equaled 100 new pence. The introduction of decimal currency was one of the most significant changes in British monetary history. Coins like the 2 new pence were part of this transition, making them unique pieces in the world of coin collecting. Let's take a closer look at the design. The obverse side, or the head, features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This portrait was created by Arnold Machin, a renowned British sculptor. It's the same likeness used on many coins from the 1960s to 1980s, showing the Queen wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. If you're a fan of British coinage, you've likely seen this portrait before, as it was one of the most widely used designs of Queen Elizabeth II. On the reverse side, we have the badge of the Prince of Wales, which consists of a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet. Below this, you'll notice the words DN, meaning I serve, which is the motto of the Prince of Wales. Now, you might be wondering why it says new pence instead of just pence. That's because during the transition to decimal currency, the term new pence was used to distinguish the new decimal coins from the old pre-decimal ones. From 1971 until 1981, coins like this were inscribed with new pence. It wasn't until 1982 that the term new was dropped, and the coins simply read 2 pence. This makes the new pence coins a bit of a time capsule, capturing the early years of the UK's decimal system. The 1971 2 new pence coin was struck at the Royal Mint. Interestingly, this coin was part of a large mintage with over 1.4 billion produced in that year alone. Because of this high mintage, the coin was very common in circulation for many years. It's safe to say that almost everyone in the UK at the time handled one of these coins, and many of you might still have some tucked away in drawers or old coin jars. So what's the value of this coin today? Well, because of its high mintage and the fact that it was in circulation for decades, the standard 1971 2 new pence coin isn't considered rare. In circulated condition, they generally sell for around face value 2 pence. However, if you have a coin in uncirculated condition, or better yet, a proof version from a mint set, you could be looking at a higher value ranging from PS1 to PS3 depending on the quality. Proof versions of this coin, especially those in pristine condition, are the most sought after by collectors. If you're looking to collect 1971 2 new pence coins, here are a few tips. Look for coins in the best condition possible. Coins with minimal wear, good luster, and sharp details will be more valuable. Keep an eye out for proof sets from 1971. These coins were specially struck for collectors and weren't intended for circulation. Always store your coins in protective cases to preserve their condition. The 1971 UK 2 new pence coin may not be worth a fortune, but it's a beautiful reminder of the UK's decimalization journey and a valuable addition to any coin collection. Who knows, that coin you have sitting in a drawer might just be a hidden gem. 1959 UK halfpenny. The 1959 UK halfpenny, also known as the halfpenny, was part of a long tradition of British coinage that dates back centuries. The British halfpenny was first minted in the early 13th century but underwent several redesigns over time. By the 20th century, the halfpenny was a staple in everyday transactions. This particular 1959 version belongs to the Elizabeth II series, minted from 1954 to 1967. The halfpenny was a part of the pre-decimal currency system, where 1 pound was divided into 240 pence. That means it took 480 halfpennies to make a pound. Can you imagine carrying all those around? Now let's take a closer look at the design. The 1959 half penny has some beautiful and intricate details. On the obverse front, you'll find the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right. This portrait was designed by Mary Gillick and was used on British coins from 1953 to 1970. It shows a youthful queen with a laurel wreath symbolizing peace and victory. You'll see the famous depiction of a sailing ship, the HMS Golden Hind, the ship of Sir Francis Drake. This design by Thomas Humphrey Paget was used on half pennies from 1937 until the coin was discontinued in 1967. And the inscription around the ship reads half penny in the year 1959. Here are some important specifications of the 1959 UK half penny. Material bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin. Weight 5.67 grams. Diameter 25.5 mm. Thickness approximately 1.6 mm. Edge plain smooth. Mintage in 1959. Over 55 million half pennies were minted, making it a fairly common coin for the time. So how much is a 1959 UK half penny worth today? Well, the value of a coin depends on several factors, including its condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. Circulated condition: if your coin has been in circulation and shows signs of wear, it's likely to be worth anywhere from 10 to 50 pence GBP. Not a fortune, but a nice addition to any collection. The uncirculated condition: if you have a 1959 half penny in uncirculated condition, meaning it's never been used and shows no wear, its value can increase significantly. These coins can fetch between PS2 to PS5 in auctions or from collectors. Proof coins, although rare, if you manage to come across a proof version of the 1959 half penny, it could be worth as much as PS10 to PS15. Keep in mind that coin values fluctuate based on market demand and rarity, so it's always good to check with a professional numismatist for the most up-to-date valuation. Did you know that the UK half penny was officially demonetized in 1969? After decimalization in 1971, it was no longer used in British currency. However, its legacy lives on, especially for collectors and historians who appreciate the craftsmanship and history of these tiny bronze coins. Another fun fact: due to its small value, the phrase spending a penny became synonymous with small transactions or everyday expenses. It's a phrase you might still hear today, though it's more of a charming piece of nostalgia now. 1944 UK half penny. The year was 1944, World War II was still raging, and Britain was a key player in the Allied forces. During this time, many things were in short supply, but the British economy still needed small denominations like the half penny for everyday transactions. The 1944 UK half penny features the classic design of King George VI, a monarch who led his people through the hardships of the war. On the obverse of the 1944 half penny, you'll see the portrait of King George VI. His image was engraved by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget, one of the most famous coin designers of his time. George VI's profile was used on British coins from 1937 until 1952, when Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne. Now let's talk about the reverse side of the coin, one of the most iconic designs in British numismatic history. The reverse features Sir Francis Drake's famous ship, the Golden Hind. This design had been in use since 1937, symbolizing Britain's great naval history and its imperial power at sea. The ship is surrounded by the inscription half penny at the top and the year 1944 at the bottom. Designed by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget, this was a striking image on such a small coin, a reminder of Britain's maritime heritage. In 1944, over 85 million half pennies were minted. This was during wartime, so the need for low-denomination coins was high as soldiers, workers, and citizens alike continued using these for daily commerce. The 1944 half penny is made of bronze, a combination of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. The coin weighs 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 25.5 millimeters. Its smooth edges made it distinguishable from other denominations. Now, let's talk about what you're really here for the value of the 1944 UK half penny. The value of any coin depends on its condition, also known as its grade. Let's break it down. Poor condition: if your coin is heavily worn and barely recognizable, it's likely worth only a few pence. These coins don't hold much value because of their poor condition and high mintage numbers. Fine condition: in fine condition, a 1944 half penny might be worth around PS1 to PS2. The details of King George VI and the ship are still visible, though some wear is present. Extremely fine condition: in this grade, you're looking at a value of around PS5 to PS10. Most of the details are sharp, and there's minimal wear. If you're lucky enough to own a mint state 1944 half penny, its value can range anywhere from PS20 to PS50 to PS50, depending on how pristine the coin is. Of course, these values can fluctuate based on the market, so it's always a good idea to have your coin appraised by a professional. While the 1944 halfpenny isn't particularly rare due to its large mintage, it's still a popular coin among collectors, especially those interested in wartime currency. Some special variants, such as proof versions or those with minting errors, can fetch significantly higher prices. 1963 UK halfpenny. The 1963 UK halfpenny, also known as the halfpenny, was part of British currency for centuries, and it holds a significant place in UK coinage history. Though small in size, the halfpenny was used for everyday transactions, making it a staple in British pockets. Minted in the final years of the pre-decimal era, the 1963 halfpenny was one of the last halfpennies produced before the UK switched to decimal currency in 1971. This coin belongs to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, making it a valuable piece of British numismatic history. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1963 halfpenny, starting with the obverse side.
The obverse features a young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This portrait was used on UK coins from 1953 to 1967 and shows the Queen wearing a laurel wreath, a classic nod to Roman imperial designs. Surrounding the portrait is the inscription Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FD, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith.
Now flipping to the reverse, we see the iconic image of the ship the Golden Hind. This was the famous galleon of Sir Francis Drake, one of England's greatest explorers. The reverse design by artist Thomas Humphrey Poggett had been used on halfpennies since 1937. Below the ship, you'll notice the date 1963 surrounding the design are the words halfpenny. So why is the 1963 halfpenny historically significant? First off, the halfpenny had been a part of British coinage since the medieval period, though it evolved significantly over time. By the mid-20th century, coins like the 1963 halfpenny were losing their purchasing power. In 1963, half a penny could still buy small everyday items like sweets or a stamp. But with inflation and changing times, the coin gradually became less practical for daily transactions. This coin represents the final era of pre-decimal currency as the UK switched to decimalization in 1971. The 1963 halfpenny was eventually demonetized on August 1st, 1969, meaning it could no longer be used in circulation. Now for the part you've been waiting for, what's this coin worth today? The value of a 1963 UK halfpenny depends on its condition. Let's break it down. Circulated condition, most 1963 halfpennies that were used in everyday transactions are only worth about 10p to 50p in today's market. Uncirculated mint state condition, however, if your coin is in near perfect uncirculated condition, it could be worth PS2 to PS5. Higher grade examples, especially ones with a clear strike and no damage, can fetch prices even higher, particularly if sold to the right buyer. Proof coins, some proof versions of this coin, special coins made with extra care for collectors, can reach values of PS10 or more, depending on demand. So while the 1963 halfpenny may not make you rich, it's still a valuable piece for collectors, especially those who appreciate the history it represents.
1965 UK halfpenny.
To truly appreciate the 1965 UK halfpenny, we need to go back in time and explore the origins of this small but important coin. The British halfpenny, also known as the halfpenny, was first introduced way back in the 13th century. Can you believe that? It has a long and rich history, but for this video, we'll focus on the more modern version of the halfpenny. The coin we're looking at today, the 1965 version, was part of the pre-decimal currency system that the UK used before switching to decimalization in 1971. The halfpenny was worth 1/480th of a pound. Now it might sound like small change, but in its day, it played an essential role in everyday transactions. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1965 halfpenny. On the obverse, you'll find a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who had been on the throne for over a decade by the time this coin was minted. The inscription around her portrait reads Elizabeth II DG. Red.F.D, which is short for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This design was created by Mary Gillick and became iconic during this period. Now flip it over to the reverse side and you'll see the detailed image of Sir Francis Drake's famous ship, the Golden Hind. This design had been used on the halfpenny since 1937, symbolizing Britain's rich naval history and exploration. In 1965, the Royal Mint produced over 97 million halfpenny coins. That's quite a lot. So as you can imagine, the 1965 halfpenny is not particularly rare in general circulation. However, condition plays a huge role in its desirability and value. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. It's important to note that after decimalization in 1971, the halfpenny became obsolete, making coins like this one a nostalgic piece of British currency history. All right, now let's talk about the value. A common question is, how much is a 1965 UK halfpenny worth today? Well, It depends on the condition of the coin. In circulated condition, these coins are usually worth between PS 0.10 to PS 0.50.50, meaning they're very affordable for most collectors. However, if you're lucky enough to have an uncirculated or mint state version 1 that has been well preserved with little to nowhere, the value could go up to around PS3 to PS5. If it's graded by a professional service, especially in higher grades, you might fetch even more, but this coin isn't typically a high value one due to its large mintage. That being said, it's still a beautiful coin with a rich history, making it a great addition to any collection. Before we wrap up, here are a few fun facts and tips for those of you looking to collect half pennies. Did you know the half penny was part of the UK's currency system for over 700 years before it was phased out?
When searching for a 1965 half penny, always check the edges for wear and the fields, the flat parts of the coin, for scratches or damage. These details greatly affect the coin's value.
Coins from older years or those with minting errors can sometimes be more valuable, so always keep an eye out for any unusual details when examining your coins. 1937 UK half penny. The 1937 UK half penny marks the beginning of a new reign, that of King George VI. 1937 was a notable year as it was the first year that coins bearing the portrait of King George VI were minted. George VI had just ascended to the throne after his brother Edward VIII abdicated.
So, what makes the 1937 half penny particularly interesting? Well, this coin not only introduces a new monarch, but it also represents a continuation of a classic British coinage tradition that dates back centuries. The half penny was a vital part of British currency, used in everyday transactions until its eventual withdrawal in 1969. Let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of King George VI, designed by artist Thomas Humphrey Pargett. The inscription around the portrait reads Georgives vidgbr om rex fd indimp, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. This is a reflection of Britain's global reach at the time, still holding on to its empire.
Now flip the coin over and you'll see the reverse side, which features the iconic image of a ship, the Golden Hind, Sir Francis Drake's famous galleon. This design by Leonard Charles Wyon was introduced on the half penny in 1937 and remained a staple design until the coin was discontinued.
The detailed craftsmanship on both sides of this coin is a testament to the artistry of British coinage. Each symbol tells a story of monarchs, explorers, and empires.
Now let's get into the technical details of the 1937 UK half penny. Material bronze, composed of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. Weight 5.67 grams. Diameter 25.5 millimeters. Edge plain, without any ridges. Mintage: a healthy 45,514,000 coins were struck in 1937, making it a relatively common coin. However, its value can vary based on condition and rarity. All right, now let's talk about what you're really here for: the value. The 1937 half penny isn't a rare coin, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. The value of the coin largely depends on its condition. Collectors grade coins based on categories like fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated. In fine condition, you're looking at around PS 0.50 to PS1. In very fine condition, the coin can fetch about PS2 to PS4. Extremely fine examples might bring in PS8 to PS108.
And if you have an uncirculated 1937 half penny with sharp details and lustrous surfaces, it can be worth PS20 to PS3 or even more to the right buyer.
Remember, condition is key. A well-preserved coin with minimal wear is much more valuable than one that's been heavily circulated. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin history and valuation videos. Let us know in the comments, do you have a 1937 half penny? What condition is it in? We'd love to hear from you.